We're live.
Uh-oh. Everybody good?
Yeah, we just have a, I wonder if that echo is going to keep. Okay, good. I think we're live now.
Good, good.
All right. Cheryl, are you there?
I'm here. We're
okay.
Good now.
Okay, good. All right, sweet. Hey guys, welcome to the show. Sorry for the technical difficulties. If you're here, say hello in the comments. Cheryl will be answering on Zoom, but Cheryl, are you staying on the video or?
As long as I can. I'm hoping that if my computer dies, that it doesn't stop this. So
okay, well, let's get the show on the road then. Guys, guess who we have back? We have Adam.
Hey.
To be talking about how to get your contract ratified in this crazy market. We know everything has been different. The terrain looks a little different, but Adam is going to drop in today and give us some tips. So Adam, we can just get started since we have had a little bit of a delay. Let's just hop right on into it.
That sounds good. How's everybody doing today?
Very good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, as always, thanks for having me back again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So thank you. So basically, I'm going to roll right into it. When you're buying a house, there's really three types of markets that are out there right now. That's out there. There's a buyer's market, there's a seller's market, and then there's like a happy medium. Okay. And right now we are in a seller's market. Okay. Supply and demand, folks. Not a lot of houses for sale. The demand is the supply is very low, but even though rates are a little bit higher than what we've seen over the last 6-7 years, the demand for houses is still very good right now. Okay. So basically what's happening is it happens in little pockets. In this Maryland, DC, Virginia area, it's a very hot market always, typically, because the federal government is here. Okay. The federal government insulates a lot of the homeowners and the prices right here. Okay. So with that, it keeps the house prices pretty steady eddy. Obviously in 2008, 9, and 10, there was, stuff fell off a little bit, but it's certainly come back nowadays. Okay. So right now you see multiple contracts when you have a house that's listed for sale, there's multiple contracts, meaning there's at least 2 different buyers trying to buy that house. I've seen some houses with over 30 contracts.
Same.
It is. If I'm the 20-something real estate agent, why are we wasting our time?
Yeah.
So basically what's happening right now is the creative person typically wins. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys an example of what literally just happened to me on Friday. Okay. So on Friday, we had a customer that was married to Bank of America. Okay. He had great credit. He has well over several $1 million with Bank of America. He could actually pay cash for the house. He's choosing to take out a loan on it. But so he calls me up, and first thing he says to me is, I'm married to Bank of America. I doubt you're going to be able to beat it, So I said, well, it was because I have a relationship with those agents, and those agents were like, hey, call my guy. I'm sure he can beat Bank of America. Okay. Long story short, Bank of America offered him 7.375. I was able to get him locked in at 7.125, which that's a quarter less on rate. And I don't have millions of his dollars. So right then and there, he was already pissed off at Bank of America because I was able to beat theirs. No problem. Okay. Now, what happened was Bank of America came back to match it. And he specifically said, why would I go with you over them? And I told him, because I'm going to get your contract ratified. Well, what happened was, before I put my foot out there, and why I was so confident, I had actually done 4 transactions dating back to 2016 with that listing agent. Okay. So what happened was, as soon as my real estate agent wrote that contract, I called the listing agent. She literally answered and said, "You must be calling me because you have another buyer, Adam, for one of my listings." So I said, "Funny, I do." And so gave her kind of a quick synopsis. Long story short, the contract was ratified Saturday morning.
Nice.
Bank of America would have never reached out to that listing agent.
Right.
That listing agent doesn't know who that Bank of America loan officer is.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Now, people are going to say, well, that's just sheer luck. That doesn't happen all the time. That's correct. But my point is that when I see who the listing agent is, I look them up on Facebook. I see what mutual friends we have. Okay. And if it's a mutual friend that I'm really good friends with, which typically it is, and they're going to be mortgage or real estate related, I'll even reach out to one of my counterparts and say, "Hey, how do you know this person? Go put in a good word for me." Okay. So I basically go over, up, and beyond what I need to do to try to figure out, hey, I look at the listing agent, see if I've ever done any transactions with him or her through emails and through texts. Being in this area, I'm probably, I'm safe to say I've done thousands of loans at this point in time, 22 years in the business. And so there's just a pretty good idea of people that I know out there that I've done business with. And if I don't know that person, there's a pretty good chance that I do know somebody that does know that person. So we just try to be as creative as we possibly can to work together to try to get our buyer that particular house.
Awesome. Okay. So what do you say to, I've heard of some people like writing like super personal letters, and what do
they
you
don't
say?
read them most of the time. I feel like what at the end of the day, with typically the one thing that's going to push somebody over is if it's a veteran that owns that house and there's another VA loan or veteran, that sometimes will work. Okay. Like if the homeowner used to be in the military and there's a VA loan that comes through, they more so want to work with that person than anybody else.
Really?
That's just a brotherhood, sisterhood. They'd rather do that, but I mean, I've seen the, hey, I'm a single dad, single mom card. I've seen the, hey, I'm trying to raise my grandchildren, hey, my kids want to go to school in that district. It just comes down to a lot of times the mighty dollar. And most of the time, I could be wrong, but I don't even believe that the listing agents even share that letter with the people selling that house. I just think that they look at the top couple of contracts and said, they just look at the top, hey, this one's for 400, this is for 415, this is for 430. They just kind of look at those. They look up who the loan officers is, see if they've ever done business with that loan officer. And then they just kind of go from there.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, I know personally, when I get messages from a prospective buyer, I'm like, I don't read them. Or if I read them, they just make me mad. And I'm not even talking about a house.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, it's about the transaction. It's about, is it the right dollar value? How fast can we close it? Is it going to go through?
Yep.
The people that I'm working with, do I know them so that I know that it's going to be a smooth process?
Yep.
Beyond that, and I mean, like I said, that's not even real estate.
Right. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, like I said, unless it's VA to VA, typically it just comes down to the mighty dollar. It's again, is there exceptions? I'm sure there's some exceptions out there, but for the most part, people, if this person's offering me 10 grand more, with no contingencies, meaning they're doing a home inspection just for, informational purposes, they're not going to make them fix anything. That's something right there that, hey, like I'm $10,000 more, no home.
Right.
And, people are even waiving their home inspections right now. I would never, ever, 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 ever tell somebody to waive a home inspection, ever. You do it for informational purposes if you don't want the seller to fix anything. However, that way you're not buying a lemon.
Okay. Okay. Are you're still seeing a lot of that, or is it?
It, no, I'm not as much as I have over the last 3 years or so, 4 years or so. But every now and again you do get, especially in Crofton because of the new high school, and everybody wants their kids to go to Crofton High School. So Crofton's like such a hot market right now that, people will waive home inspections. They'll do it for informational purposes.
Okay. So if you're not seeing a lot of that, and then say that you don't have a personal relationship with, say, the listing agent, like what is another way that someone could have a hope and a prayer to get their contract ratified?
So again, if I don't have a relationship, I'm looking them up and I'm seeing who they're friends with. I'm seeing who they do business with. I'm trying to check out, see who their loan officer is. Like I'm borderline stalking them because I'm trying to figure out, anything and everything I can about them. So that way I can make almost like a personal relationship with them and just, hey, like these people really want this house. They're willing to do whatever it takes, help me help you, if it's, waiving, in a, I've had some people, so in some loan processes, it's only for conventional loans. It's actually not for FHAs or VAs, but with a conventional loan, in a conventional loan only, if you put down the right amount of money, they waive appraisal. Like I don't need to get an appraisal. So I've had people say, hey, I'm going to put down, 20%. And, I've actually on a Sunday, I had to come in here and run DU, which is desktop underwriting, and see if I can get an appraisal waiver. And so we beat out probably 10, 15 other contracts one time because we got an appraisal waiver because she was putting so much money down. So right then and there, I think we were neck and neck, but the other people needed to do an appraisal and we got a waiver. So it's little things like that. And the other thing too is when the offer is going to the listing agent, when my buyer's agent is writing the offer and submits it to the listing agent, I have them CC me on the email. Say, hey, this is my lender. This is, and then I respond right away. Hey guys, nice to meet you. If I can answer any questions, please let me know. But in the meantime, after I respond, I'm also doing my due diligence to see who they know that I would know to have a common denominator there.
Looks like we have a question from Barbara Elways. Hey, Barbara, that's why you have the edge, building personal relationship over transactional relationships.
There you go.
Absolutely. Because not everyone would even think to do that, number one. And then people are sometimes too busy you said you had to go on there on a Sunday. Some people will be like, well, now I'll get to it Monday. And Sunday to Monday, that's the difference.
So Barbara's parents bought a house last year. They came from Seattle. Okay. And there was multiple offers on that deal, but it was me reaching out to that listing agent on over the weekend that kind of pushed that through. Yes, I did have some mutual friends with her. Yes, I did have some of those people say, hey, call her up, vouch for me, just like I would do if one of my friends called me for one of my agents. If they were working with a buyer that I didn't have, I would do the same thing. But that's how I got her mom and dad a house. Very competitive situation.
Thanks for that comment, Barbara. I appreciate it. So, Cheryl, I have another question. Cheryl, did you have something you wanted to say before I ask my next question?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, Adam, would you say that really makes the difference, hiring someone who, I don't want to say is we know that you're well-known, well-respected in the industry, but, who is well-known and well-respected? Would you say that's the difference of hiring like a brand new agent as opposed to someone who's been around for a long time? Because hopefully they'll match you with, a mortgage lender who can also give you a little step up, or they'll come to you first and then you will kind of match them with one of your agents that you are familiar with working with.
So that's kind of a tricky situation because we've all been new in the business at some point. Nobody comes in, most people don't come in where their parents, were loan officers or their parents were real estate agents. There's some, but most of us don't,
Right.
so that's what I bring to this game is
Yeah.
my expertise,
Right.
is all the people that I know,
Right.
and then all the creative ways. That's the good thing about working for my company
Yeah.
is that, we want to see each loan officer succeed. We're not in competition with each other here. If I could help out any of my coworkers because I know a listing agent to try to get a
Right.
deal ratified, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just, it's we're playing at an unfair playing advantage almost because nobody really in my company is a rookie per se.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, a lot of people, everybody's been around the block for a while. So, we definitely, have that knowledge and that, not only about this business, but we also know a ton of people in the industry.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, it looks like we have another question from Howard Brown. Hey, Adam. I've had a handful of buyers take their home search to the Eastern Shore to get more bang for their money. Can you talk a little bit about USDA loans?
So USDA loan it's a box.
Okay.
Okay. It is a box. You're either in or you're out. Okay.
Right.
USDA goes down to 580 for a credit score. Okay. But typically their max debt to income ratio is about 41%. Okay. So it's a far cry from VA and from FHA that's like 55 for a debt to income ratio. Okay. But if you fit in that box, and what happens is each county has what's called a median income for that county. Okay.
Right.
You cannot make too much money or you won't qualify, but you can
Right.
also not make too little money or your debt to income ratio will be too high. It is 100% financing, so there's no money down. Okay. Whatever the closing costs are, you can negotiate for the seller to pay up to 6% for the closing costs. If they pay up to 6% and you do qualify for a USDA loan, you could get into that house with literally no money down, similar to a VA loan.
Amazing. 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 Now, do you recommend that loan a lot, or do people normally come to you and say, hey, I want a USDA loan. I've already been on how people love to Google, Zillow, all of that. People already been on the website. I've already looked the address up and I'm in the area because it gives you a map, right? That you can put it in and it'll pinpoint and say,
Correct.
Do you recommend USDA loans frequently, or?
Around here, there's just not many USDA. It's more so out in Western Maryland, Southern Maryland, and on the Eastern Shore where you're going to find, typically a rural area.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't recommend it that often simply because most people just don't qualify because their DTI is either too high or they make too much money.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's tough. I mean, obviously, when I look at somebody's credit and I look at what their income is, I can tell right away if they're going to qualify for certain things. Now what happens is if you have a husband and wife that are applying for a USDA loan, if they have like 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, the more kids you have, the more income that you can actually make. Okay. However, you have to prove that, hey, we have 3 kids. I need, 3 birth certificates, so, I'm sure there was a time and a place where people, could cheat that system, but not cheating the system anymore.
Not now. Yeah.
Not anymore. So it's just a tricky, it's a good loan. It really is. The mortgage insurance is really low on it.
Really?
Again, you can get in with no money down. It's just, that box is about that big.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other, Howard? Oh, you're welcome. Howard said, awesome stuff. Thanks, guys. Yep, absolutely. Thanks for that question, Howard. Are there any other programs that are comparable to that? Because I mean, obviously people are like, I want to move. I want to buy a house. I don't want to rent anymore, but I just don't have the down payment.
Mm-hmm. So we have a grant program all the way down to a 600 credit score. Okay. As long as you have at least a 600 credit score, we can look at doing a grant program. And we can look at this where it covers your down payment. And as long as the seller covers the closing cost, then you could get in with no money. It just depends on where your credit score is and what your debt to income ratio is. But we do have a grant program to help people that don't have, much money, if any money,
Right.
down for a down payment.
Right. How dangerous is that right now, though? I know you were saying that it's a seller's market. Are sellers just like, absolutely not, I'm not doing that?
It's tough. It's tough to get those accepted right now. And the reason being is because, like I said, there's, 3, 4, 5 contracts, 10 contracts on each house. A lot of times, even if you might be offering, as much as somebody else, maybe you're even offering $5,000 more. Typically, sellers don't like the grant programs right now because they just feel that you're in that grant program because you don't have a lot of money. Therefore, if you need an extra $3,000 for closing, they feel like you can't come up with it because you're getting a grant program. So they might take an offer that might be $5,000 less, but it's a conventional loan or a VA loan or an FHA loan. It's no grant program. So with all the competition out here, the grant programs are good again, but in this market, it's tough.
Okay. Yeah, that is tough. So you're saying like 5,000 over. Is it typically, what have you been seeing, like, are most contracts over asking price still? Are they a couple thousand over, or is it, I've heard like actually one in this neighborhood was 50,000 over. Is that still like just increasing day by day, or are we kind of like leveling off here?
We're definitely leveling off from that. Okay. Now, what I will say is, say it's a $300,000 house for sale and somebody needs like $9,000 for closing. Okay. 3% of 300,000. So I will see people offer 309 with $9,000 back at settlement, but I haven't seen the, offering 350 on a 300. It's been probably about a year or so since I've seen something that chaotic.
Awesome.
So it's definitely, leveling out. So
that's awesome. Okay. Actually, this is Cheryl texting me. I think we, okay. Cheryl's phone is overheated, guys. But she's watching from YouTube. So, Cheryl, that's fine. Cheryl, I'll just keep putting my glasses on and checking the bar to see if we have any questions. If there was anything that you wanted to ask Adam. Okay. That's very interesting. Okay. Thank you. So are you working mostly with people who are like ready to go, or is there one common thing that you see with people that might be preventing them from even getting started with the home buying process?
So great question. So we work with all different types of people. Some people are ready to rock and roll right now, have money saved up. Let's go. Some people may not have the best credit right now. We send them to our credit repair guy. In that case, it normally takes 2 to 3 months to get, depending upon what's wrong with the credit. But most credit repair, I would say, takes between 2 and 3 months. Okay. So we'll work with you to help you get your credit. If you don't have a lot of money, we could look at doing a grant program for you. So, we work with everybody. I like to tell everybody all credit is accepted.
Okay. So would you say credit is like the number one thing? Like if you had someone who's just starting out, like what is a tip that you would give them? Like, okay, I think I want to buy a house, but I'm not sure. I don't even know where to start. I don't know what my credit's like. What is a tip that you would give someone?
Call me first. Let's run your credit. Let's start from that. Okay. Because you don't need to have the best credit if you have money. Okay. But if you don't have money, then you need credit. Okay. So typically they look for credit, money, debt to income ratio. Okay. Those are typically the 3 things. Okay. Those are typically the 3 things. So you can get away with, you don't need all 3. But you got to have 2 of the 3,
Yeah. Looks like we have another question. Okay. With buyers making crazy offers to be competitive in this market, has Adam seen appraisers adjusting for the current market conditions? Has he had any come under the purchase price?
Yes, I have. Two.
Thanks, Howard.
2. About 2 weeks ago, I had 2. One was supposed to appraise for $415 in Baltimore City, came in at $390. One was on the Eastern Shore in Ocean Pines, and came in at $350 versus $380. So the appraisers are definitely more hip to the area, to the climate, to everything that's going on right now. They're not just throwing out numbers. They're not just meeting contracts. They're definitely doing their due diligence before they send over that appraisal.
Okay. All right. And just for anyone who doesn't know, Adam, can you just touch quickly on what happens with that discrepancy? What's your option?
So there's a couple. Okay. There's a couple. One is that you got to go back to the seller, and the seller has to agree to lower the price. Okay. However, most of these deals right now are giving closing cost. Okay. So in both situations, the 380 that went to 350, they were given 8,000 in closing costs. They cut that to 4. Okay. So they only gave them $4,000, but they were fine. They ended up selling the house and settling last week.
Really?
The other one that went from 415 to 390, I told the agent, like, hey, you can cut the cost, whatever, but these people can't buy your house. They need every ounce of your closing costs, or you'd have to list that house. And that house in Baltimore City was actually on the market for 46, 47 days. So the listing agent just kind of said, let's just get it closed. And that's actually closing tomorrow. Okay. So if the house doesn't appraise, then basically it's really up to the seller, not really the buyer at that point, if they want to move forward with that new lower price. However, the bank is just not going to let somebody buy a house and finance a house more than what the house is worth.
Right. Okay. And now other option is the buyer could just come to the table with the money, correct?
They could, if they had it and they wanted to, they could. That did happen over the last couple of years, not really happening anymore.
Okay. Thanks for that question, Howard. He says, does the appraisal stick to the property? If so, how long? That's a great question.
So with the FHA, that FHA appraisal sticks with that house for 6 months. Okay. Ooh. Conventional loans, it does not stick. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
VA loans, I believe that VA appraisal is good on that house for 4 months, if I'm not mistaken, but conventional, no, there's no system. You can, send an appraiser out. You don't like it, you can get a different one and see what happens. But an FHA, it definitely sticks with that property for 6 months. So it doesn't matter who they come and buy it or tries to get it next. We would have the rights to that appraisal. So they would have to buy it from us, but that's just the way it is with FHA.
Okay. Wow. Thank you.
And USDA's appraisals are FHA appraisals. So again, that would stick with that for 6 months too.
Yep. Okay. And same thing with the grant. Well,
the grant, it's going to be either conventional or FHA loan. So it just depends on which way we end up going. Yep.
Okay. You mentioned something earlier on the show. You were talking about a customer that you're working with who had a lot of money, but they still want to finance. Can you just talk a little bit about that? I know a lot of people don't fall in that category, but I know someone might say, well, why would someone do that if they could just purchase the house? Why would you pay, the interest on it?
Tax purposes to have that tax write-off, number one. Number two, if the house they're buying is 570, they're financing 300. Like, why put all your money down? You want your money to make you money. So depending upon what financial machines that money's in, where that that financial advisor has that money, maybe he could, maybe he couldn't take it out. But for the most part, people want, a tax benefit. Maybe he'd be taxed on that money if he took it out. So a couple different reasons why he's not, paying it in cash,
Right. Okay. Awesome.
And a lot of times too, you're able to write that interest off. So I mean, leaving that $300,000 in there could be making, that could be making him, a couple $1,000s a month. Maybe that couple thousand covers his mortgage payment.
Right. Okay. All right, great. Okay. Do you need to go? We've done our half an hour, but are you good on time?
I mean, I got another question or two questions if you got,
Yeah, cool. So last week we actually spoke to Michelle about this a little bit. People were like, oh my gosh, the rates are so high, so high. But she reminded us in the audience, I feel like people got really spoiled with the super low rates. So are people still complaining about rates? Are you seeing that? Or are they just kind of like, okay, this seems like a normal rate to us. We know that you're getting 2s or 3s. It's like, that's very rare.
So a lot of people right now have, I feel, done more educating themselves right
Oh,
now. Okay. And so people know that buying a house right now, they're going to have a higher rate. Okay. People also know that there's a little saying that we use in this business right now. It's called marry the house and date the rate. Okay. Just because you're going to be in that house forever, that's going to be your partner. But that rate, you're not going to be married to it. What goes up goes down. In 22 years of doing loans, these are the highest rates that I've ever seen in 22 years. So eventually they're going to come back down. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.
right.
Okay. And
Okay.
so what people do realize is that they'd rather get the house now, even though their payment's a little high with that rate, they're going to refinance it. But what's going to happen when rates come down, you might see prices go up.
Mm. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. Can't have it
So
both ways.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have another question. Have you ever had someone buy a house under an LLC?
Yeah, I've done those before. Typically, you got to put down between 15 and 20%. It's not really cost effective to buy a house under an LLC. It's better off just to buy the house under your name and do a residential loan for it. Okay. And then after it's done, then you can title it, pay the transfer taxes, which a couple $1,000, and then title it in an LLC. But if you buy it under your name, you'll get a better interest rate. Your closing costs will be less, more favorable terms, and then just pay the couple grand to title it in an LLC down the road. But I personally think putting the homes in an LLC is a waste of money.
Okay.
I think that as long as you have homeowners insurance on the house, you have renters insurance on the
Okay.
house, and the people have their own policy. Like that's why you have insurance.
What is the reason that people cite for buying it in?
Because they think that they're like, if somebody happens, like they can't really sue that because it's a limited liability company LLC. Okay.
Right.
But as long as you have all the proper insurance and you've done, you've got the contract signed, the insurance in the contract, that's typically going to protect you from
Okay.
anything. I know there's a lot of shows, there's a lot of people that say, oh, put it in an LLC, put it in an
Yeah.
LLC.
Yes.
I personally think it's a waste of money.
Yeah. Well, right. I mean, 15 to 20%. That's yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Thank you. Let me scroll through and see if I missed. And Adam, was there anything else that you had that you wanted to say in particular? I don't think we have any other questions.
No.
Zoom to see if we had any questions on Zoom. Nope, the chat is empty. All right, guys, does anyone have any questions? We're going to wrap it up with Adam. There's a little bit of a lag on YouTube, so I'll just give them a second. Thanks again, Adam, as always. Oh, hey.
There weren't any more questions on my channel, and I with the difficulties that I'm having. If I find any questions after the fact, then we'll make sure that we get those answered by Adam and put a comment in the chats under, respond to those comments in the chats. I do apologize for my technical difficulties today, but this has been very interesting. I've been able to listen
Awesome.
instead of participate, but yeah, it's been a great, a lot of information as usual. Yep. Adam.
And we're going to love to have you back again, Adam. And also just a quick rundown, Adam, where are you licensed once again?
Maryland, DC, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Florida.
Okay.
North Carolina and Maryland. I got daughters in both places. Let's get them a house.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, good. Well, Adam, thank you so much for hopping on. We appreciate it. And we can't wait till the next episode where you come and return and join us again.
Awesome, ladies. Well, thanks for having me. And I look forward to talking to you both soon. Okay.
Okay, great. Have a great day, Adam. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, ladies.
See ya. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, Cheryl, you good? Are you overheated? Or you think you're good? Thanks, guys, for joining. Howard. Let's see. Barbara, Deborah, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I'm running the truck in the heat. Nobody tell my husband.
Where are you?
Sitting in a parking lot.
Oh.
In Clinton.
In Clinton. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, very good. Well, we don't want to keep you just sitting in the truck. I know it's so, I haven't even been outside today, but I already know that it's hot. So that's why I haven't been out. Guys, did anyone else have anything they wanted to touch on this week or discuss? We can end a couple minutes early. That's, I mean, if you're okay with that, Cheryl, does anyone else have anything they want to say? Or, and as always, we'll get all of Adam's information added in on the video. If you missed the states, give him a shout. And he has so many business contacts that if he can't service your state, I'm sure that he knows someone in your state who can help you out.
Absolutely.
All right. Nope.
He's got quite a few on the East Coast. So
yeah. Yep. All right, great. No questions coming in. And I don't think I see any on here either. Okay, cool. All right. Well, good. Great episode, guys. Cheryl, safe travels. Stay cool.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys.
Right. All right. Thanks,
bye,
everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Yeah.